Hello, and welcome to episode 46 of Missed Mando, Ontario's source for the latest in the disc golf world. I'm your host, Robbie Holden, joined, as always, by my friend and co-host, Sean Galbraith. Shawnee G, how you doing? What you been up to since our last show? You had quite a bit of camera exposure in the last little bit. Let's hear about it.
I just got back from the best tournament around, the MVP by OTB Open out at Maple Hill, where I was a member of the world's greatest staff and have the disc to prove it. What an event. Like I love this event so much. I love being a part of it. I love Steve Dodge, do anything for the man. It just keeps getting better. This year, I was down there for a week and helped out setting up the course a little bit more than I usually do. I'm usually just during the tournament volunteer. It was amazing to see the army of people putting together this event. The day before the tournament started, they basically rented out the AAA ball team stadium, Polar Park, and set up a 9-hole Ace Place disc golf course around the stadium. They had like a CTP kind of event going on in the outfield where you got to throw the just released new Simon line disc from Axiom. They had tech disc on the Jumbotron, which was super sick. You could do a putting contest against Owen Scoggins. It was incredible. And then the CTP $20,000 CTP event on Friday night after the round was incredible. There's no amount of positives that I can give to being part of this event as a spectator or me as a volunteer that does it justice. It is the best, full stop. You have to go at some point in your disc golf life. There is nothing better. And then being out on the course, I was again the tournament official for hole 14. And the action over 4 days that I saw out there was incredible. No ace this year. I'm going to do a giveaway anyway. Who cares? I'm going to give something away at some point. But we had so many near aces, including on the final round with Gannon Burr putting it off the koozie. Evelina Salonen putting it off the base of the flagpole on the top. We almost had a skip ace somehow off wood chips. I don't know how Alexis Mondahano pulled that off. Lisa Fakis putting it off the tray. Zach Nash putting it off the top band. Like, people were hunting. It was amazing. We had an incredible amount of spectators hanging out. Some for the entire tournament, just hanging out on 14 with me. We had this adorable family with these really cute 2 little kids who were super excited to see Evelina throw. And then the young daughter got to meet her, and it was the most exciting thing that's ever happened to her, I think. I love MVP Open. I love it so much. And it's just, I cannot wait for next year. I will absolutely be there as long as my legs can take me. It's the best.
I am incredibly jealous every time I see you down there. And like I said, you got on coverage a whole bunch while you were down there, being the spotter and hole official on hole 14. Got a little shout out from Nate Doss on the broadcast. Not too shabby.
So ridiculous.
So yeah, hopefully
for life.
Right. Got the top or the first photo in a post by Raven Newsom on his social media was just Sean's ass with his suspenders. You can't see his face, but you recognize that ass anywhere. So yeah, super cool to see, and I got to get down there at some point. Whether to volunteer, which I would love to do at some point, or even just hang out. Like I would love to spend a day with the 8 holes and
It
just
is.
post up. It's the
It's really
rowdiest.
fun.
I can't remember what day it was, but friend of the show, Rebecca Dawn, was the first person of the day to hit the putt from the drop zone, which everybody gets pumped up and yells, "Sign the board! Sign the board!" And I saw her get to do that at one point over the weekend. So just a super cool tournament, super fun atmosphere, and hopefully I can get down there at some point.
It was so cool being out on 14, and here comes Rebecca Dawn, and here comes Sophia Dunica, and here comes Chantal. It was. I love this for them. I love it for them so much. They had a great time. They had great tournaments. Rebecca hit the drop zone putt on 14 as well, which was super sick and also like a scary as hell death putt.
She can
Emily, her parents, Emily and Derek, were out there wandering around and checking it out. They spent a little time with me on 14, had some fun, and took in the whole vibe, the whole atmosphere. Oh man, it was just.
I saw Sophia got a selfie with you as well at one point, a little Canadian
Yep.
representation.
I was wearing her and Thomas's World Game fundraiser shirt. She's like, "There we go, my favorite spotter. Let's grab a quick selfie." And it was. God, I love that place. It is the best. I cannot recommend it enough. But I'm sure what you've been up to is probably comparable. So, like, what have you been up to?
Yeah, totally comparable. I've been up to diddly squat since our last episode. I have not played a tournament since Canadian Nationals. I am getting prepped for the Lucky Lines Open this weekend, which is going to be incredibly fun. I play on Sunday. That's when the MA1 division plays, so I'm pumped for that. A little preview for provincials coming up, as Eastview will be one of the courses that I get to play for provincials as well. But other than that, I haven't been doing anything. I do from the time of recording 2 days, and when you're listening to this, 1 day away from officially not being able to blame things on my life as being young and dumb in my 20s. Because I officially turned 30 on October 3rd. And that has just been filling me with existential dread. So that's about no, I'm excited. I can't wait to be an old man, to just go to bed early, like discounts on dinner. Don't have to walk upstairs anymore. There's just a robotic chair that takes you up it. Be able to, like, maybe a little like light shoplifting, but just be able to blame it on being old and confused. I'm kidding. I'm not any police officers watching as a joke. But yes, 30 is coming up for me. It's around the corner, and that's been about it. I think I'm going to go, and I'm not sure where I'm going to play my birthday round this year. I know, I think we're on a streak of back-to-back years playing Bronte Creek together. On my birthday, I think I'm going to have to work during the day, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to really get out during the day. I might have to make it an evening round. But we will see. I'll play disc golf at some point on my birthday. I have to make it happen.
Let me get another birthday ace.
Yes, shout out Sean. It's Sean Galbraith stealing my birthday thunder 2 years ago and acing a hole 4 at Bronte. Although, in typical fashion of me being the ultimate hype man, really it's more fitting that I get to cheer on somebody doing something cool on my birthday than me actually doing something cool on my birthday. So it just fits the Robbie Holden, the roller coaster Robbie narrative. Is what that fits. But yes, nothing else going on for me, so nothing else to catch up. So let's move on with the show. We've got a lot to get to in this show. Actually, a little lighter episode in terms of tournament recaps. We've got a couple local ones, a couple Pro Tour recaps to go through. But first, we are going to send it over to our feature interview for this episode. And we are very excited to welcome back, I believe, for his third interview. I don't think we're missing anyone in my research. His third time on the show. It's a pleasure to welcome back friend of the pod, Chris Ozolins. And we'll be right back on Missed Mando. Our next guest last joined us all the way back in episode 19, almost a full year ago now. So I'd say we're overdue for a reunion with this friend of the pod. He's the president of the ODSA, was reelected as the Ontario representative for PDGA Canada this year. One of the top MPO and now MP40 pros in Canada with 7 wins this season and an all-around awesome dude. It's a pleasure to welcome back to the Missed Mando podcast, Chris Ozolins. Oz, thanks for joining.
Thanks, Robbie. Thanks, Sean.
Always a pleasure to have you here. It was kind of crazy thinking that it's almost been a year since you were last with us. But more recently, you are just getting back from the Northern Ontario Championship, which when we had you on last at the end of last season, you highlighted as an event to look forward to in 2025. So now fresh off of it, how do you feel about the event and how it went?
I absolutely loved it, first and foremost. Unfortunately, couldn't take it down. That pesky Thomas Gilbert managed to, I call squeak one out at the end of the tournament. But we had a lot of fun. We actually ended up, there was a bit of a course move due to a golf course issue, but it was great. We ended up playing Pointe du Chêne in Sault Ste. Marie. It's right on Lake Superior. If you look at anyone's cover photo on Facebook right now, you probably see one of the signature holes there with the lake in the background. It was fantastic. And then we got to celebrate the new installation of concrete tee pads at Mountain View. And I think a lot of people just added that to their top 10 Ontario courses because it was phenomenal. I heard Thomas Gilbert say this could be on the Pro Tour so many times when we were going through the new 9 holes there. So that was pretty cool.
That is, well, I mean, that's high praise. Wow.
I agree.
Very high praise. And I skipped out on one of my favorite tournaments of the year, Dreammaker, to go up and play Gaps Gambit this year because I unfortunately had a wedding the weekend of NOC and couldn't go up as much as I wanted to. But because of all the amazing things I have heard about Mountain View, I had to go up to Gaps, and I gotta say, it lived up to all the expectations. And that was before the 9-hole edition, although Corey did kind of take me through and show me some of the planned holes at the time, but I can't wait to get back out and actually see the new 9 to make it 27 at Mountain View. Totally 100% a hidden gem in Ontario disc golf.
Did you play on the tee pads, the concrete tee pads they had, Robbie, or did they not have those yet? Okay, every hole perfectly poured 10x4 concrete tee pad now. It's phenomenal.
And I would say that would have been my only critique of the course as I was there for Gaps this year was the tee pads were not great in some places, but with some new fresh concrete, yeah, the course is great. Anybody that wants a nice weekend getaway, because it is a little far from us here in Southern Ontario, but it's worth it to get up there. And this time of year, it must be gorgeous up there.
It's, you know what? The leaves aren't changing that much yet, even up in the Sioux right now. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I think it might end up being back there again next year. So highly recommend people take the trip. I know there's course expansion going on up there right now too, but the pro side boys with the Sault Ste. Marie course and Corey and Ian and the crew that did Mountain View they knocked it out of the park. Highly recommend it. It's a hard thing to get people to do for the first time, but once they do, they come back. So
for those of us like myself who haven't played the course, how would you describe it?
Oh, the Mountain View course, it's got a few open holes. There's a really big bomber hole 18. I'd say it's mostly wooded. Large variety of shots. You don't often throw the same shot, at least not 2 times in a row on that course. I'll go through everything from my putters to my drivers on that course. I would say I kind of consider it like a slightly smaller version. Their traditional 18, a slightly smaller version of like Fox Run Meadows, or one of the Smuggler's Notch courses as far as the forested holes go. And then what they've expanded to in the extra 9, they're very much more kind of grown up holes, I guess. 400-foot par 3s, stuff like that. But what did I hear Thomas say? He said it could be on like a W.R. Jackson, but in the north is what he quoted there. So I think that's high praise. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like some of the highest praise you can give.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm telling people it's 7.5 hours. It's not that long. Put a podcast on, get up there. It's super affordable to stay, and when the fall colors do hit, it's incredible. So, and they had so much extracurricular too. That's something I value in tournaments. Like we had something to do every night where we could kind of meet up with everyone, have a few drinks, socialize. It was great.
How did you like the 18 plus 27 hole format of the tournament?
Loved it. I love like the living daylights at a disc golf. So when we were done 18 holes on the second day, it felt, it was great to oh yeah, we still have another 9. This is great. It didn't take that long either. I think it was about a 4-hour round for 27 holes, which if anyone's ever played the Christie Spring Fling, sometimes 18 holes takes longer than that there. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I probably would have asked for more golf the first day, honestly, if I could. Like 27-27 would have been great, but they didn't really have
27-27.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I mean, what we did in turn was I think they ran an ace run both days too. So after your round, you could do the ace run at the smaller municipal course. But yeah, I honestly couldn't get enough of it. We jumped in the lake after the first round too, Lake Superior. It was freezing, but yeah, it was nice to have all those folks up north and kind of celebrating together.
Sounds amazing.
Couldn't sing his praises enough. It is seriously a hidden gem. I highly recommend it for anyone watching this. Just make the trip. Don't go to one of the local tournaments that's going to sell out anyways. Go take a jaunt up to Sault Ste. Marie / Mountain View.
And with it being an ODSA qualifier, I mean,
yes,
your odds of getting that provincial spot are probably better than they are at certainly any other GTA tournament. That
was a common theme up there. Like quite a few, like Jeff Robinson out of Burlington came to get his spot. I know. What's his name? Out of Barrie. Oh, he was winning nationals for the first round. What was his name? I hope he's not watching because this would be embarrassing for me not to know.
In which division? What division are we talking about?
M2.
I'm gonna look it up.
Here we go. I got it. I don't think he ended up qualifying, unfortunately, in the long run. But what did we have? Here we go. Dylan Bradshaw. He was up there too to qualify. We had stacks of folks that wanted that last spot. So it was nice to leverage that a bit too and leverage the value of the tour for, to get folks out there. I think we had 87 when all was said and done. I think they're going to look to expand that next year, especially with 27 holes. I think we had 4 or 5 open holes on that 27 hole layout when we did shotgun start, and pace of play was great. Yeah, it was awesome to see that. There was definitely an air of, desperation for some folks, but it was nice to see some of them, it pay off for folks that were up there and finished in that top 3.
There's real stakes involved.
Absolutely. And I should also mention Tobin Isaac playing his first pro event cashed, and so he's now playing pro for the remainder of the events this year, and you'll see his name in the MP50 pilot provincials too. So
that's
congrats,
fantastic.
Tobin.
The man, the myth, the legend, Tobin Isaac. Yeah. We love to see it.
If you're on Facebook, you can't miss him.
No, definitely not. And yeah, 100%. I can't say the same enough about Mountain View. Just take the drive, load up a couple, missed Mando episodes, and listen to them on your way up there. We'll keep you company, and you'll have a blast out there. But not only did you recently play NOC Oz, you also recently played in the Canadian Championship, your first nationals in the MP40 division, and you absolutely dominated the field in a 15-stroke win over second place for your first national title. What do you think were the biggest keys to success for you that weekend? Playing on 3 pretty challenging courses.
Practicing them, first of all. You should see my 407 ETR bill right now. It's ridiculous because Hamilton to Bowmanville is not cheap. I think half of the prize money was literally spent paying off my $800 ETR bill. That being said, I think I still compete in MPO in Ontario. I think one of the things that kind of gave me an edge was still competing like I had to be competitive in that division. And so there's definitely a more laid back vibe when it comes to MP40 than there is. And it has its value because some of the players in MP40 are the best card mates you could ever have. And some aren't. I won't elaborate on that, but it was kind of pretty special to get to play with, someone who I'd looked up to when I started playing disc golf too, and take a victory from them at nationals. But yeah, those courses were not easy by any means. So kind of played to my game. I'm on the low end of 40, just having turned 40 this year. So I've been reminded quite often that it 42 is a lot different than 40, and 45 is a lot different than 42, and so I guess it's to my advantage to have just turned 40 as well.
Well, not only would you have, been competitive in MPO in a very, very competitive field, based on your score, you would have finished in, I think, 7th place. I think you finished at, what was your score? 19 under total, I believe, which would have placed you 7th place in a solid MPO field. So definitely mission accomplished there, I would think. And you also beat some pretty good competition in the MP40 field as well, which is turning into a pretty loaded division in its own right here in Ontario, and especially if you start looking at like MP40 at Masters Worlds or whatnot, it's loaded up.
What's funny is, first of all, if you look at provincials right now, I think they're neck and neck, those two divisions for the field size right now. But I played MP40 twice earlier this year and would have won an MPO, but finished second in MP40, which had me kicking myself, thanks to Scotty J and Greg Rubenberg, who are still phenomenal disc golfers.
Killers.
And a ton of competition. And it's funny. It's you're, no matter where you go, there's someone who can beat you in Ontario. So it's awesome.
There's one more player in MP40 than there is in MPO. So it's going to be perhaps slightly harder to win in MP40. Double G is playing it. Scotty J is playing it. That's going to be a difficult division. Really amazing competition for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think these courses are big distance courses, maybe Victoria Valley Park. I haven't played the new iteration of that course, but I don't think being a bomber is going to give any advantage when it comes to provincials this year, because we're not playing Kelso anyways in the pro divisions. So as of right now.
Are you doing 2 Vic Valley and one Eastview?
Yeah, I think so.
Correct. Correct. Vic Valley, Eastview, Vic Valley for all 3 rounds. I don't only know that because that's the same that we get in MA1. Vic Valley, although you can gain some advantage on a couple holes by having a really big arm, it's not as big of an advantage as it would be at some other golf course-esque disc golf courses. So yeah, you're gonna handle it mighty fine there, Oz.
Thanks, buddy.
So you mentioned that you mostly played MPO this season and you've sort of dabbled in MP40. How do you go about deciding which division to pick for any particular tournament? And how did you go about picking MP40 for provincials instead of MPO?
Honestly, I looked at it and it was pretty even down the middle as far as the number of players. I think depending on the tournament, depending on the field, I look at where would I feel more laid back. where am I familiar? I think a laid back, less anxious Oz is someone who's going to perform better too. So I'm looking at my card mates. There's so many really, really, nice players in Ontario in general, but I think for the most part, I wouldn't be out of place to say that MPO players, especially younger MPO players, tend to carry a bit more anxiety with them. They tend to be a little bit more, I'm not going to say standoffish, it's not the right word, but very much aren't there for the social aspect as well as the performance-based aspect. You can have both. They're both there, especially the more experience you get, the more laid back you tend to be, despite it being high-level competition. But I think just being comfortable, honestly, in the division. And I'm working on my own game right now. It doesn't matter, if I beat my rating in a tournament, I don't care if I win the tournament. I'm getting better myself, or I'm hitting the goals that I'm setting for myself. You cannot beat another player if they're going to shoot the lights out. You can only beat the course. So, my goal this year was to make the Canadian national team too. And that was a ratings-based threshold you had to be on. So I kind of made some choices this year so that I could perform the best possible during those events to do so. And that's kind of what steered my choices so far. I won't lie though. At Nationals, winning MP40, I still felt like at the end of the day, maybe it was the 15-stroke margin, but that it wasn't quite as fulfilling as being in that open division. So, tons of pride in that win, but I think it could have felt different.
Speaking of ratings, as of the last ratings update, you're currently 1012 rated, your highest rating since 2022, and only one off of your career high of 1013. I know you've battled some injuries over the last few seasons. Is the elevation in your play a byproduct of being healthy again? Or is there something in your game that you've worked on that sort of like unlocked that high level of play again? Higher level of play, I should say, because everything you do is high level compared to me.
Well, thanks. First of all, thank you, Robbie. What a compliment, all of this. I think it's familiarity with my game. I'm not playing injured anymore. Although I'm 40, so it takes longer to recover for sure. I wish I could play, 4 rounds a day. I did start doing a lot more coaching this year too. And I think kind of being in touch with others' fundamentals so frequently has made me more in touch with my own too. And so I think just from that exposure and constantly teaching, I've also made sure that, I'm doing the little things right when I'm playing, and I'm around disc golf a lot more often. I think that's how someone on the pro tour hits 1040. They're just playing all the time, or they're thinking about it all the time, versus, having a 9 to 5 and getting to play 3 times a week. Doesn't really let you excel, but yeah, I think I've been in touch with disc golf and thinking about it a lot more this year, and the fundamentals are there and locked in.
So looking ahead to next year a little bit, now that you're eligible, are you thinking about maybe popping down to Peoria for Masters Worlds, or maybe some time down in the Sunshine State of Florida for the Tim Zielinski?
I think Florida would be nice for sure. I this year I would have loved to have gone to Minnesota to play in Pro Masters Worlds, but with what was happening early in the year, and especially if you're a professional disc golfer without a visa, didn't seem like the wisest choice to travel to the States. We've had friends who are also pros without visas stopped at the border. Yeah, I think Tim Zielinski in Florida would be great. You can mix it with a vacation and have some fun down there. But I would love to play Maple Hill if it wasn't a playoff event again. I'd love to, spend whatever, trip down to the States or trips down to the States I have playing great courses would, I think, mean a lot more to me than going and competing in a Tim Zielinski or a Masters Worlds. Yeah.
Well, there is the Maple Hill Masters, or the DGMT event that happens there in, I think it's September, something like that.
That's one I will think about then. Absolutely. That's fantastic.
Yeah. As we mentioned at the top of the show, I just got back from there, and, God, that place is so special. Yeah. Gabby and I are probably heading down for the Tim Selinsky this year because her family lives like half an hour away from the courses. And those courses there's got some really good courses down there in that part of Florida.
What are they? One second. Are they Fort Lauderdale ish?
Orlando-ish.
Oh, so Clearwater, Orlando. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I should know that. You told me that before. Yeah.
Yeah, the courses are Champions Gate and the Green Gauntlet, in Lake County, Florida. Really, really nice Florida courses that I think you would absolutely shred.
Oh, I'm definitely going to consider that one then. I'm not the biggest fan of Peoria and the courses around there, and I mean, going to Illinois isn't the most exotic vacation you could plan.
Well, we know that you love to go down and get out of Canadian cold in the winter, and you went down to the Memorial again this year and finished 24th, which is actually, in your 7 times playing the event, your highest ever finish at the event. I don't have a question to add on to this little tidbit, but just talking about warm weather kind of made me want to throw that out there. So good job, Oz, on your best finish ever at Memorial.
That's actually on the cake. Just being in Arizona is fantastic early in the year to not be misery of the north that we have here. Yeah.
Looking at your PDGA page and seeing a tournament that says from January 16th to January 19th makes me incredibly envious as somebody that was here in Ontario under a lot of snow during that time frame. But as we mentioned, you're just getting back from NOC, which was the last stop on the 2025 Ontario Tour before Provincials, which is coming up in just a couple weeks in Guelph. As we're coming to the end of another season of disc golf in Ontario, how do you think 2025 went from the ODSA and Ontario Tour perspective? And more broadly, how do you feel about the state of disc golf in the province and nationally?
Well, I'm glad that you asked me this. And I'm glad that Sean can share in helping with this now too, as a member of the Ontario Disc Sports Association's board. I think a lot of our growth has come from expansion on the group of people that we have. Having a variation of opinions to share and not just being part of an echo chamber has been fantastic. But 2025 as a season, I think, went phenomenally. I can't say that, any tournaments sold out because they were part of the tour or not, but disc golf in Ontario as a whole is absolutely flourishing. I think that right now, if you look provincially across Canada, no one's got the depth of like the competitive continuum like we have in Ontario right now. I think we are the envy of a lot of the rest of Canada as far as having a, qualification series and a provincials that's been consistent for the last, 15 years right now. And we're trying to hammer down and make sure that we are consistent too from the ODSA perspective, and we're not changing things, because for a while there, we've been kind of testing things. This rule might be something that we're trying this year, and next year we're going to change it. And so I think we've started to find our groove when it comes to that right now. I know there's a lot of people that might be upset about provincials not being an open registration event like it has been. I think 2 years ago was the last year, 3 years ago was the last year that we opened it for that. But I think it's really important to stress that prestige in qualifying is something that is important for the upper end of the competitive continuum. I think that our Little Heisers tour, run by the ODSA, but really, I think majorly orchestrated by Ryman Bevilacqua, has been a massive success too. It's allowed us to cater to, I wouldn't say the grassroots of disc golf, but the grassroots of competitive disc golf, getting kids into the sport. You guys know, you probably echoed this before, but for free. Every tournament's free for kids. And then the provincial championships for the juniors was free as well. I think we've looked at how, now that we have the capacity of the ODSA, how we can branch out and fill in the gaps of programming that we've had in the past as a result of not having the capacity to do these things. So now we have juniors on the junior tour. We've got that baseline of competitive continuum. We've got the high level Ontario tour. We're catering to, I think, the more competitive disc golfers. We are, by the way, I should mention, AM3 and FA3 will be a staple in the tour next year and a Division 4 provincials. We tested the waters with qualifying there, and I think adding parity, or this results in added parity for a lot of divisions, because people have had to in the past play up divisions and really not had a shot to qualify. But that's what we're trying to do, is add more opportunity there. The next things we're looking to do is how do we cater to that grassroots, that non-disc golfer getting into disc golf, or how do we cater to that, that kind of ambiguous group that wants to be competitive at disc golf but doesn't have an opportunity with the provincials and tour qualifying right now. So that's what we're kind of focused on in our off season right now. But I think it's been a great year. I'd love to hear your guys' take on it. Like, what do you see as far as the tour goes and all the events we've had? Is it a success? Do you think that you've seen growth?
Well, speaking of the,
I think the tour was absolutely trash. It was garbage. It was horrible. Mostly because I didn't qualify through any of them. So clearly it is an abject failure and in no way related to the poor state of my specific game.
I'm going to inject here that Sean is going to provincials for his volunteerism at last year's provincials. There, our hosts are given spots, and Sean spent the entire weekend last year in Muskoka taking photos of everybody. And
listen, someone's got to come in last place at provincials, and it might as well be me.
Well, it's an honor just to be there. I think sometimes it's something you get to celebrate, and that gets lost sometimes. To be honest, like, the whole value of qualifying. I've heard a lot. The feedback I get most often about provincials is that, we should trickle these spots down, or you should qualify more players. And the problem with that is, first of all, it's like a participation ribbon for something that, it detracts from the actual value of qualifying. And then looking at our hosts right now, I don't think Guelph thought in any situation we'd be bordering 300 participants this year at provincials, and I'm pretty sure we're getting awfully close right now. If I look,
290.
Yeah, it is last day to register, but it makes it really tough for a host to field to cater to that field. I mean, 3 courses in Guelph is just going to be enough to host that many folks. So we can't overqualify players.
It will be enough. We won't have to add a 4th course, you think?
I don't think we will.
That's good.
The problem is that Victoria Valley Park, and anyone who played at Muskoka or Huntsville Downs last year knows, a golf course won't let you go out before 9:30 a.m. When there's a frost warning on their greens. And so they have a compressed day, whereas, Kelso and Eastview, you can go tee off at 8 o'clock. They can tee people all the way till 2:30 and they'll be fine. But just with that compression of start time because of frost on the greens, Victoria Valley is going to be the pinch point in the tournament, or the bottleneck that we see. But Robbie, I interrupted you. I'd love to hear your take on the tour so far this year, your experience with it at least, or what you see the ODSA doing. That'd be awesome to hear too.
I do play a lot of tournaments here in the province of Ontario. The one thing that I was going to say was just quickly on the Little Heisers, because we were talking about that going into it, was how freaking cool was it, all the videos and photos that were coming out from junior provincials at out in Paris at Green Lanes, the course out there. It was FJ8 that had the playoff?
6. Yeah.
FJ6 had a playoff, and the big crowd, and would you say 64 competitors there? Like, super cool to see all the junior growth. And I have seen, I noticed definitely this year in sort of more like I don't want to say fringe tournaments, but ones that, because the ones close to us here in Southern Ontario, a Bronte tournament, a Guelph tournament, anything in Toronto, no problem selling out. Like, that's always going to happen. One's going out a little bit further, like seeing more and more people go out to somewhere like Stones Throw, or going up, like we've talked about, going up and playing Gaps Gambit or NOC out in Sault Ste. Marie. Blueberry Brawl, I think, is the fastest selling tournament in all of Ontario. It's mental how quickly that tournament sells out. And speaking of Blueberry Brawl, that actually, I wanted to touch on what you were talking about, the qualification as well. I couldn't agree with you more about there's an extra level of like it just feels more special when you qualify if you actually do it by getting onto the podium, finishing in top three. Something that I've told to plenty of people before is that I wish more tournaments would give out podium trophies. It doesn't have to be anything flashy for second or first, or second or third. The first place trophy can be way cooler. But as somebody that's finished in second or third a whole bunch, got a couple of firsts in there, but more seconds or thirds. The couple of events that I've done that I've come away with a podium trophy, it gives that extra bit of feeling special, and the provincial qualification comes along with that. I know he had already qualified beforehand, but if my buddy JF in MA1 hadn't already got his qualification this year and was able to get it by winning at NOC this weekend, which huge shout out to him for that. We'll get to that later in the show when we do our recaps of it. But shout out to him for that. I'm sure it would have felt even more special. And when he did qualify for it, third place at Blueberry Brawl, it makes it feel that much more special. So I couldn't agree with you more on that part.
Beautiful. Thank you. Oh, I should mention too, you mentioned Little Heiser. This is something that Sean knows. We talked about this already, but what that Little Heiser program has allowed us to do too next year, because you'll see tournaments and from a TD's perspective and from a player's perspective, including junior divisions in some of these travel tournaments has been maybe a point of contention. Oftentimes asking a TD to cater to junior divisions when their tournaments built around adults and having a culture that's built for adults and then including children has been an issue in the past. Now with this Little Heisers tour and our planned expansion, we won't be including juniors in our traditional Ontario tour. We'll have a full-on additional tour for them, which will allow us to expand to have those MA3 and FA3 divisions next year as a mandatory division for our Ontario tour events. We ask the TDs to host those. But it'll allow TDs to expand and focus on adults, as well as potentially allow more adults to participate in these events where, the juniors in Ontario have this fully subsidized tour for them to compete in where the culture matches, I think, their age group rather than, having folks partaking in certain things at tournaments where maybe it's not the best environment for kids to be around.
So this year on the Little Heisers tour, I think if I'm remembering correctly from the post, it was 9 events all across the province and 227 total players across those 9 events this year. Looking ahead to 2026 for the program, are you looking to kind of stay the same with events? Are you looking to add more events? Up in that number. Well, do you have like a goal in mind or anything like that? Is there a way that anyone potentially looking to host something like that can reach out to the ODSA?
So knowing Bebby, he would never say no. And he would overspend tremendously on it too, which is fantastic. I think it's going to be highly dependent on how many Miss Mando madnesses we have going next year to help fund it too. As well as, we have our ODSA annual raffle. And so I think we're trying to build a budget that, where the sky is really the limit for Bevy and who we can get to host these events. We're more than happy to host one in Oakville next year. And I think a lot of TDs are eager to. It's one day. It's not a ton of commitment. I mean, overall, yes, you're spending a lot of time organizing it, but for your region and making sure that you have the juniors catered to, I don't see it being fewer than 12 events next year and a provincial championship. And I think Bevy's looking to expand on that junior championship a little bit too. But I would be surprised if it was less than that. I think you'll see every region with at least one junior event, if not more.
Starting at the grassroots level like that is incredibly important for the growth of the game. And don't threaten Sean with a good time about more Miss Mando mayhems, because he loves setting up crazy course designs and torturing people for a good cause.
Yes, and I may try and get one more in before the end of the year. We shall.
Where are we playing the next one, Sean?
Well, We'll see. We'll see. I haven't decided fully. I've got 3 that I'm choosing between, and I got to figure out a date. The tournaments still keep popping up on the calendar, and so I'm like, I want to make sure that it's on a weekend where there's nothing else going on. So we shall see.
Here, shout out to Ezra Hauser running his first tournament. He just messaged me today. December 13th, Scarlet Woods will be hosting a C tier as well. That was just announced today. So we're nuts in Canada. Yeah.
Cross that weekend off the list. But kudos to Ezra.
Shout out to
awesome.
Ezra. I mean, first TD experience. That's fantastic. But
that's
yeah,
amazing.
and we've got the Five Sisters in 2 weeks. We've got the Foxwood event next week. We've got 2 events this weekend. Ward's Wide Open. We've got the Plaid Jacket, kind of a tradition in Ottawa. There is no and Lucky Lines Open. Couldn't miss that. By the way, if you're playing in that, I saw the players pack for that. It is a phenomenal sweater that you get. It's a crew neck made by the Lucky Lines guys, and I'm spoiled. Yeah.
And is what Wolf Tracks Classic and the Wedge and the Battle at the Bluffs.
Yep.
Ward's Wide Open. Like, man.
Stones Throw Fall Open in there as well. I mean,
next weekend.
Yeah. We say disc golf season's almost done, but wow, there's a lot left.
No, it's double season too. You're going to see you're going to see the King's Forest doubles event go up soon. I don't know if you guys knew, I'm installing a new course in Hamilton as we speak. We've been cutting heavily out there. So that'll have all right, I won't ruin too much yet, but that'll have an event, a fundraiser event this fall too, to help with some of the costs.
So, I mean, we've already touched on a whole bunch of stuff from 2025, but are there any other highlights on Ontario disc golf that come to mind for 2025 that you want to sort of shout out, or anything that you're really looking forward to in 2026 to really sort of keep increasing the level of play here in Ontario?
Well, I will give a shout out to the Canadian Nationals team. Like, I know we talked about me winning, but like they knocked that one out of the park. Cedar Creek blew me away. Dan Baynard and Dan Washington, his brother-in-law. I think that's in my top 3 in Ontario now, and that's something that I was sleeping on until now. Hope Goat was playing phenomenal. Daryl and his team out there. Sean and Daryl again did a great job running the event.
They did.
I didn't get to play Newcastle, but I love those guys out at the Newcastle. Like they deserve a massive shout out, because I think, you got almost 500 Canadians coming here, and they saw some phenomenal disc golf as a result. So
I think it was the second largest tournament in Canadian history, behind one of the BC Opens, which had a little bit more. Yeah, screw those.
That's out in BC. It doesn't even count.
Yeah,
so.
It doesn't count.
But looking forward to 2026, I think from an ODSA perspective and how we can help support Ontario in developing, we are look for next year. I'm not going to give too many details right now, but we're looking to offer some majors in Ontario next year. There's going to be just a bit of a different way how we classify and financially subsidize these events with what we're offering. I think you're going to see a few more tournaments that haven't traditionally been on the tour as part of the tour now. Some of the bigger events, we want to make sure that Ontario's A tiers are on the tour. And so we've reached out to some TDs and see how we could work together. And, we're one big community, and we want to make sure that we're all kind of working towards the same thing. You're going to see, I think, a lot of events that, like the NOC and provincials next year, depending on who does apply, elevated too, with what we can support for those events. And just a heads up to TDs, we'll be reaching out shortly, but we'll have the bids, the bid process open shortly for the 2026 tour as well, and hope to announce the provincial location for 2026 at provincials this year, like we did with nationals, where we announced Grand Prairie and the Greater Moncton area, aka Dieppe, as the 2027 host. But yeah, I think everyone's just getting better at what they're doing. We've got a great board that's very much has a eclectic set of opinions, and so I think we can discuss these things and hopefully make progress.
For TDs that are looking to make bids for Ontario Tour events next year, what what kind of things is sort of being sought, or how can TDs help sort of stand out from some of the other more regular events and try and get a spot on that tour?
Okay. So we actually have a bit of a report card, and then we have a committee, and they all kind of assess every application. But there are things like capacity. These, it's going to be obviously to be a major versus we're going to have a regional set of events as well next year that are also supported qualifier events, very much the same. But to kind of be in that higher echelon, so to speak, you have to have a higher capacity. Tier level is often going to be considered, especially because it affects how much you subsidize the pros in the event. It's the requirement from the PDJ on what you have to give back to the amateurs as far as percentage of their net entry fees as well. So things like that are kind of no-brainers. We're also looking at, to apply, you have to agree that you're going to offer certain divisions. In Ontario, we it's important to us that underrepresented divisions are not just included in your event, but oftentimes for equity's sake, offered pre-registration. So we're going to continue to ask that our events offer pre-registration for the female divisions as well as 60 and older divisions. MA50 does not need any help in Ontario anymore. If you've seen that,
Can confirm.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're good. I
I've
need
seen a few
help
tournaments.
at MA50, but the division does not.
Here, little known fact for Ontarians: when you pre-register a division, you offer pre-registration like for sponsoring and whatnot. You can at most fill half a division. That's the PDGA rule. So oftentimes MA50 has gone pre-registration, 12, 14, 16 players, which means the TD now has to offer 32 spots for that once general registration opens. Hold your TDs accountable, by the way, even though they're absolute saints and angels in Ontario for running these events, but that is a rule. So we've seen that growth and said, we can't be helping to, there's no equity required for these divisions anymore, but 60 and above certainly needs it. And our female divisions, we are absolutely destroying the status quo when it comes to females participating in PDJ events too, as far as Ontario versus the rest of the world right now. The rest of the world's still hovering between 11 and 14%. In Ontario, we're well over 25% for most of our events. So that's fantastic. That being said, having a history of success as a TD, representing a region that's not already overrepresented with events. For instance, South Central Ontario, it's a lot harder to be considered for their major slot or their two major slots than it would be if you're north of Barrie, for instance. And just making sure that, you've proven in the past that players feel like they're getting good value for their events. I don't think any TDs should work for free by any means, but I think there's a certain amount of work and know-how that goes into making a player feel like there's good value in the event for them and that they've, enjoyed their experience, and especially events with extracurriculars where you think about not just the competitive side, but the social side and that kind of je ne sais quoi that fills the rest of your time when you're up at an event. For the most part, we want to get the most players out to these events possible, though. And so, majors are going to have to be larger scale events so that it's not a 22-second race to register like every event is, but can't really control that, unfortunately.
I remember the last time we had you on, you had talked about, I think you had mentioned that NOC potentially this year was going to be considered a Ontario major and offer more qualifying spots per division. Not sure if that ended up happening this year for NOC, but would that be sort of the thing? Would be bigger events, maybe like a top 5 get qualification spots, like that sort of thing?
I can't confirm that yet. I think we one thing that's kind of always been echoed with as far as the ODSA board talks goes is consistency in what we're doing and not switching up kind of in the midst of the process of qualifying. I think most of the major side of things right now, and I'm not saying this won't change, is about how we fund or support the events more than it is about how we qualify players. I think we're going to stay pretty consistent with the 3 qualification spots right now. But never say never. We haven't decided anything beyond that as a board yet, so I can't I can't insinuate that there's any change in that. But I think just getting all Ontarians on board and understanding the process and keeping things simple right now is important to helping the tour grow as a whole.
Like I said, I love the way it works now with top 3 qualification, and don't think it could go any better. I actually, we mentioned going up to NOC for like last minute qualifications. That was a little incentive for me to go up to Gaps Gambit this year and lock down my provincial spot. I think that's where I locked down my provincial spot. I can't even remember now. I'm pretty sure that's where I got it. So yeah, Ontario Tour, getting people like the incentive of qualifying for provincials and the extra specialness of top 3. Love it all. But you mentioned it briefly, and we interrupted you so you wouldn't spoil any more. But the last time we had you on, you teased us by mentioning that you were working on 2 new courses in Ontario, but couldn't give any more details. So circling back to that almost a year later, what's going on in the course design world for Mr. Chris Ozolins?
Okay. Well, we finished. Well, I'd say finished. It's still kind of in the process of being refined, but the Autonomy disc golf course at Escape Maze is done. It's up the 115 on the way to Peterborough, kind of between Port Hope and Peterborough. So that's been installed. That's kind of got dual function. They do a lot of school field trips there, and so there's a kind of a short mini 9-hole there, as well as a full kind of championship level 18-hole course on the property. They're still installing signage and doing a little bit of tree cutting, but for the most part, it's open. The tees are installed. You can go have a good time playing that. Working on a pet project in Hamilton right now on the mountain, so to speak. Really excited about this one. I think this is the one. This is probably the course I'm most excited to introduce to the community. It's going to be a free to play too, which is really important because there's not much free to play in our neck of the woods. You look at Brawny Creek, you look at Christie Lake, they're both membership required. There's a pass to get in. This is right across from a bus depot in Hamilton as well. It's on the mountain though. It's kind of a mixed rurally type property. The property itself is 90 acres. We're using about 40 of those acres right now. There's mixed open and heavily mature wooded holes as well. There's some water out there. I'm really excited with what we're doing right now. The baskets have been ordered. We're going with MVP black hole portals just so that we can pretend we're like Maple Hill Junior. Hamilton yellow though, for sure. But yeah, I think that course, we're looking to have those baskets in by November this year. I'm going to apply for a tournament to be on the tour in next spring and see if maybe we merge that with Christie Lake so that we can up the capacity and make it like a Hamilton Championships or something like that. Then we're working with the conservation area out towards Grimsby, and we're trying to do a bit of a tester course for the winter too. I'm not going to say which one in particular because there's folks listening who would love that information ahead of time. That being said, really excited to work with some of these areas. They just want to try 9 holes for the winter, and maybe it turns into something. So, yeah, on top, I don't have time for anything else right now because we're literally chainsawing this Hamilton course ourselves right now. But really excited about it. You'll hear about kind of more about that in November this year, and we'll probably do a fundraiser in the winter too.
First, I'd like to correct you. Nobody is listening. I assure you. This is Miss Mando. We do not have a listener.
There could be up to 100 people that listen to this in the first year it's out. So don't.
I like your optimism.
No, you know what? People are listening, first of all. I've listened to many a Miss Mando during road trips, and you're on what, episode 46 now?
46.
Phenomenal. The number of times I've heard you say, "Hey guys, I got to go." Jane Rise on the phone, we're interviewing him, or Jess Goulet, or whoever it might be. No, this is great, and people do listen, by the way. But yeah.
Well, on that optimistic note, before we let you go, do you have any other shout outs or compliments you would like to give us, or any other final words? The floor is yours.
Wow. Anything else I'd like to say? Shout outs. I'd like to give the Guelph group a shout out first because this has not been an easy provincials to plan for, especially with the response we've gotten from our qualifiers. Like you saw, there's going to be 300 folks there, and I know that Kevin and his crew are having to adjust, and please bear with them. If you are listening, if you're one of the few folks who listen to this podcast, and you hear it before provincials kicks in, there might be some pool shuffling still, but this is something that's necessary from a TD's perspective. I don't think anyone's ever going to fully appreciate. It's literally hundreds of hours to run something like this. And so, always thank your local TD when they're running things for you. It's frustrating sometimes because there's a lot to deal with. So if they make little mistakes, I think forgiveness is the best thing, because it is a big load. Shouting out for next year, I'm really excited because I know there's a few other courses being built by some of the other beautiful course builders and designers in our community. I think I'm looking forward to Robbie's end of year course voting extravaganza as well too. I'm going to be voting. I'll definitely put some more votes towards Cedar Creek this year, and so that's my big shout out for them this year. Dan Baynard and Washington killed it, loved it. And then you guys, again, getting to 46 is huge, and I have no doubt you're going to get to 100. Hopefully not before I talk to you again, but I appreciate the commitment that you guys have to this, and you are my favorite disc golf podcast. Chain Out is definitely number 2, especially since they stole my logo with the CO. Jeremy and Daryl, fantastic. Love that podcast too. I love that we have enough interest in Ontario and Canada to have multiple podcasts and people talking about this. And anyone listening to this, thank you.
Well, we will continue to do this regardless of whether or not anybody actually likes it, because we have so much fun doing it. The response has been pretty great from our listener, that they really do enjoy it. And if you are driving up to NOC, it's like 3 episodes of travel time to get up there, because our episodes are
2.5, depending on what episode you choose.
Yeah, maybe 2.5. Yeah. Well, Oz, thank you so much for joining us once again. It's always a pleasure to talk with you. Can't wait to see these new courses that you're working on, and it is going to be amazing. 2026 looks like it is going to be an incredible year for disc golf in Ontario, and I'm excited. Robbie's excited. Everybody's excited, and we will cover it all on Missed Mando, and we'll be right back.
Oh, welcome back to Missed Mando. Thank you so much once again to Oz for coming on and joining us. Absolutely love getting to chat with Oz about disc golf here in Ontario, and definitely can't wait for provincials, and it's going to be an exciting 2026 ahead of us. Shawnee G, unless you have any comments that you wanted to make for the interview, I will send it over to you, because there is somehow still tournaments to register for here in Ontario.
Wow. It's October. It feels like the season should be winding down, and yet somehow it doesn't feel like it is winding down. There's still time to register for the Stones Throw Open, fantastic Stones Throw Fall Open out in Enterprise. Registration for that closes October 6th, and the event is going down on October 11th. How that one still has space, I don't know. There is the new event, the Flings Giving, taking place down at Foxwood. That one closes October 5th, and it's going down October 11th and 12th. The one that sounds really cool, the Five Sisters Open out at Westport, that's the one that's going down at the Dawn family private course on their property. A B tier to kick things off there. Registration for that closes October 16th, and the event is going down October 18th and 19th. And for, I mean, not like Robbie level old, but like me level old, the Cold Creek Masters Extravaganza up at Cold Creek Conservation Area in King Township. That closes October 20th, and the event is going down on October 22nd. And in Ontario Masters Tour tradition, it is taking place on a Wednesday. So, but that isn't all. We've had a brand new event drop into the calendar. The Sweater Weather Open is going down at Black Prince Disc Golf Course out at Picton, Ontario, formerly known as County Disc Golf. This is an unsanctioned event in their newly extended 9-hole course. So they're adding long tees. And if I've heard there might even be like an 1,000-foot hole on this course. They're going to have 2 rounds of singles and 1 round of doubles. It's going to be a great time. And best of all, it's only $15. A bargain. You definitely want to check out that event. Registration, I believe, is open. Let me just double check. Registration is open now and closes November 14th for the event that is going down on November 16th. So, mark the calendars, go on out to the county and play the Sweater Weather Open. That's it though for new things here in Ontario. But as far as somehow we're still getting events dropped into the calendar. And so I in no way think that there won't be more for next episode.
I was just checking Disc Golf Scene to see if it was up there, but when we were just talking to Oz, he had mentioned Ezra Hauser hosting or TDing his first tournament with a C tier at Scarlet Woods, is what he said. Scarlet Woods in December, sometime in December, if I'm remembering correctly. Of course, that's a winter course, but Scarlet Woods doesn't usually get all that much snow, so it should still be a great turn. I know, yeah, you give me that look. We'll see. We'll see how it actually goes, but that'll be one to keep an eye out for as well. Yes, now that I've talked about it, it's definitely going to be like 6 feet of snow somehow. But yeah, keep your eye out for more coming up. And Oz also mentioned it in the interview. It's getting into doubles season, so going to be a bunch of really fun doubles events popping up soon as well. Let's move on over to our tournament recaps, and we start our recaps in Milton, Ontario at Kelso Conservation Area for the Chainlink Conservation Series at Kelso, which saw 73 competitors across 9 divisions battling it out over 2 rounds for this C-tier event. MPO was the only pro division at this event, and it was Garrett Morgan, aka Mr. Thumbers Only, who saw himself in the lead after round 1, shooting a 966 rated -6 to take a 3-stroke lead over Sebastian Mrozinski into the final round, where he would pull away from the field, shooting the hot round of a 990 rated -9 and cruising to a 8-stroke win for the first MPO win of his career. Meanwhile, on the amateur side, James Atkinson shot a scorching hot opening round in MA1, a 985 rated -8, which would have given him a 2-stroke lead in MPO, but instead he had a 4-stroke lead over Marc-Andre Comtois in MA1. Mark was able to battle back a little bit in round 2, but in the end it wasn't enough, as James would take down the win by 2 strokes for his 3rd MA1 win of the season. Shawnee G, let's throw it over to you and hear some of your thoughts from the Chainlink Conservation Series at Kelso.
No aces to shout out this time. Not all that surprising if you've played Kelso. There's some tough holes to bag the one on there. The closest division that we haven't talked about was MA3, with Gabriel Dixon beating Tyler Rogers by a single stroke coming in at -7. Gabriel shot an average of 64 points above his rating. So really, really well done there. Absolutely fantastic. No other single point divisions. Everybody else won very comfortably. And then as to the course itself, hole 10 on the combined black and blue layout continues to be one of the hardest holes to birdie in the GTA. It's up there with Albion Albatross 16. Jeff and Kara have made another, and Chainlink have made another diabolical hole. There was only a single birdie on the par 5 730 foot hole across all of the divisions in all of the rounds. And a huge shout out for Chad Dennis in MA40, not MPO, MA40, who got that honor. It is a very difficult hole to birdie. And achieving it on that hole is that might actually be worth more than an ace. So huge shout out to Chad for that achievement.
It wouldn't be a Jeff and Kara course without one hole that averages like 2 strokes over par. That just tends to be the at least between Albion and Kelso, the more daunting of their courses for sure. But I still have to make it out to Kelso. I haven't played there yet, and I've really been itching to. So can't wait to get out there at some point. Next, we head to beautiful Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, and St. Joseph Island for the final stop of the 2025 Ontario Tour, the Northern Ontario Championship, which saw 86 players across 14 divisions looking for a last-minute top 3 spot to qualify for provincials coming up in less than a month. In FPO, Alicia Hums took down the win as the only competitor in the division, but also averaged 20 points above her rating through the event, including a 952 rated final round. In the MPO division, Thomas Gilbert started strong with a blistering 1051 rated -12 to take a 4-stroke lead over Chris Ozolins into the final round, with Thomas Hums another 2 strokes back in third. In the final round, the top 3 separated themselves from the field, shooting at least 7 strokes better than everyone else in the division. But ultimately, it was Thomas who rose the highest, shooting the hot round again with a 1030 rated -14 to cruise to a 7-stroke win over Oz, with Thomas Hums finishing in third. Over at FP40, LA Tuck took a 4-stroke lead over Lisa Eishley after round 1. But Lisa was able to fight all the way back in round 2 and would take down the win by 3 strokes for her 3rd win of the season. MP40 saw a great battle between Craig Ireland and Justin Murphy, as Craig held a 2-stroke lead after round 1, but Justin fought back with a 985 rated second round to send things into a playoff, where Craig would get the birdie on the first playoff hole to take down the win, his 3rd win of the season. Over in the top amateur divisions, we've talked about her a lot on the show this year. Taylor Quigley took a 5-stroke lead over Alyssa Saunders and Kyrie McKegg after round 1. And despite some struggles in round 2, she was able to take down the win by 2 strokes for her 9th FA1 win of the year. It's also at the time of recording, or was it yesterday? I can't remember if it was the time of today as we're recording or yesterday, but when you're listening to this, happy belated birthday, Taylor. And congrats on the win there. Over in MA1, Ricky Penny held a 1-stroke lead over Jean-François Menard. JF, love you, buddy. After the first round, with Eric Terminesi and Keaton Schmidt 4 strokes back in a tie for 3rd. In the final round, though, it was JF who was able to shoot the hot round and take down the come-from-behind win by 2 strokes for his very first ever PDGA win in any division. Huge congrats, JF, one of my favorite card mates from Sudbury, who I don't get to see as often as I would like, being this far away from him, but one of the great people in Ontario disc golf, and also his dad is probably the best card cheerleader that you'll ever get if he ever follows you around for a round. He cheers maybe for the other three guys harder than he cheers for his own son, which always cracks me up. He's a fun-loving guy. So shout out JF for your first career win out at the Northern Ontario Championships. Shawnee G, let's throw it over to you and hear any of your thoughts or ace shout-outs coming from NOC.
There was an ace to shout out. Love that. Michael Boucher in MA60 snagged the ace on the 190-foot hole, hole 10 from the shorts. But not only that, Michael went on to battle Kristen Lachance in a 2-hole playoff and held off the challenger and took home the win. The ace in round 2 was absolutely the key to making sure that it tied up and took it to a playoff. And well done to both of them, but especially Michael for the ace and the win at the NOC. Well done.
And like I mentioned plenty of times in the interview with Oz, can't recommend enough getting out to those courses out in Sault Ste. Marie and giving them a try. It is well worth the travel out there. Let's move on now to some Pro Tour recaps, and we start our Pro Tour recaps at the incredible Smuggler's Notch Resort for the first playoff event of the 2025 season, the Green Mountain Championship. The FPO division saw Missy Gannon dominating early, taking a 6-stroke lead over Paige Pierce after the first 3 rounds. But it was a different story in the final round, though, as Paige would erase those 6 strokes to send things to a playoff, while Owen Scoggins came back all the way from 8 strokes down to join the 3-player playoff as well. It would only take 1 playoff hole to determine the winner, as Paige Pierce launched a massive drive and then was able to get a tap-in birdie to take down the win, her first Elite Series win since last year's Portland Open, and extends her streak of seasons with at least 1 Elite Series or major win, which dates all the way back to 2011. 2011, she's had a Elite Series or major win every year. Crazy. Over in the MPO side, it was another GOAT at the top of the leaderboard after 3 rounds, with Paul McBeth holding a 2-stroke lead over Cole Redolin, 5 strokes over Paul Kranz, and 7 strokes over Gannon Burr. But Paul would need almost every stroke of that lead in the final round, as Gannon was doing Gannon Burr things, shooting a 1088 rated -13 to get right back into the mix. In the end, though, Paul was able to do enough with a 1050 rated -8 to take the win by 2 strokes over Gannon, with Cole finishing in 3rd. Shawnee G, let's throw it over to you to hear some of your thoughts from the first playoff event of the Disc Golf Pro Tour season, the Green Mountain Championship.
I absolutely love that Paul and Paige took it down together. This is their first time doing so since 2021. And I believe I read that this was the 22nd time overall that both of them have won an event together. It just felt right. Felt good. I kind of like that. Paul's win, which was the second of his second of the season, also brought him up to 2nd place in the Pro Tour points standing, which is pretty great. It didn't last. MVP Open, changed that, but it just shows how great of a season he is having. It feels like, McBeast is back and he's fully recovered from that injury. And I mean, watch out. He's hungry. He's hungry. Over in FPO, it was kind of surprising, like how badly the field overall played. Outside of the podium, no one finished under par. 4th place was 11 strokes back of 3rd. In 2024, you needed to go down to 14th place to just hit an even par player. Like it at some points, it felt like the players were actively trying to lose. I really don't know what was going on there, but this was definitely, for the most part, like if you wanted to, you would wanted to watch the MPO coverage because it was, frankly, other than the playoff, it was definitely better. Like Missy blowing a 6-stroke lead. That just does not happen very often.
I will say the final round in FPO started to get exciting as you realized that things were getting closer and closer. It's going into the round, you thought it was over at that point. Missy Gannon with
Absolutely.
the 6-stroke lead going into the final round. But then Own is just draining these crazy circle 2 putts. Paige hit a couple C2 putts at 1.2. Also got like the luckiest skip off of the bridge on 18 to even stay in bounds and then get up for birdie to force the playoff. Just hit like a 2-foot wide bridge perfectly and got a crazy flare skip off of it right into the middle of the fairway. It's incredibly lucky, and obviously worked out in the end. She mashed her drive again on 18. Also, I don't know if you saw, how about them Owen taking the cart all the way up to the top to start the playoff, and Paige just turned around and ran up the hill. She was just so amped off adrenaline that she just turned around and sprinted. And then the image of her, whoever was pushing her cart, trying to keep up behind her going up the hill. That's just hilarious to see.
Huge flex.
Yeah, that's pure intimidation factor. Sprinting back up a hill to the tee pad and your card mates are getting the cart up. That's just pure intimidation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, great event at GMC, and it's one of my favorite tournaments of the year to watch. One of the prettiest tournaments of the year to watch. Gorgeous area, but one that I definitely enjoy watching just a little bit more is where we will go next, to the MVP by OTB Open. And since you were down there, Shawnee G, as we mentioned, let's throw it over to you to hear the recap.
After GMC, the tour headed down to Massachusetts for the 2025 MVP by OTB Open at the legendary Maple Hill course. I can't say enough about it, and I have said a lot about it. The MVP Open is the second playoff event, and this is the final event of the regular Pro Tour season. Maple Hill has made several changes to the course compared to last year, continuing to ensure that the course does not get stale or lose its challenge as players get familiar with it. Like the new 17 Gold is just a diabolical hole, pushed 100 feet back, and you have to hit like a 6-foot gap away. It's nonsense. It's hilariously difficult. In FPO, Silva came out of the gate hot, shooting a -8 in round 1 for a 2-stroke lead over Haley King. Nice to see that she was shooting great. The score was all the more impressive given the weather conditions. If you watched it on coverage, we had some extreme fog and torrential rain that just blanketed the course during the round and for most of the day. Thankfully, the terrible weather ended it in round 1, and the rest of the event had perfect conditions. On Friday and Sunday, we had a little bit of wind, but nothing, a little gusty, but it wasn't like a crazy amount. And Friday was absolutely spectacular. Round 2 saw Missy Gannon bag an ace on hole 7, a skip ace. Absolutely fantastic.
First ever tournament ace.
First ever tournament ace. Her round moved her up 22 places to 3rd place, while Holland joined Silva at the top of the leaderboard. In the final round, however, it was all Missy Gannon. She wanted that big money. She shot the second hottest round and easily won by 4 shots over Silva and Holland, who tied for 2nd place. This was big money Missy's 2nd win in a row at the MVP Open, and she just had a fantastic final round. Over in MPO, Team Lefty Nathan Queen had a surprisingly fantastic first round to start off in first place by a stroke over current local boy Simon Lizotte. In round two, however, both of them dropped pretty much out of contention, and Gannon took the lead, as you know, Gannon Burr is prone to do, with Ricky Wysocki in pursuit after shooting an insane neg 12 1097 rated round on a very, very injured ankle. I don't know how Ricky was even playing this event. That the ankle was all purple and swollen. Like, that's brutal. He had it wrapped.
Seeing the picture of his ankle beforehand that he posted on social media, I was like, how is this guy even walking right now, let alone about to play a pro tour tournament at Maple Hill?
Maple Hill is not like some like flat park course. It's got hills. No. There's rocks all over the place. Like, it is difficult just on good ankles.
Ricky's an animal.
Incredible round. Meanwhile, Cole Redolin moves up from fourth to second, tied with Ricky on the strength of an incredible ace in the short position on 13. It was a 382-foot downhill shot into this gap. Fantastic shot. In round three, it was Cole's turn to shoot the neg 12 and join Gannon in first place. But in the final round, Gannon Burr inexplicably gave 3 strokes to Cole on hole 17, allowing Cole to cruise to a 1-stroke win, his first victory at Maple Hill. Truly, I'm out on 14. Gannon almost aces the thing, puts it off the koozie, and we're thinking it's over. It's over. Like, this is just like, get him ready to jump in the pond. He's going to take the tournament and the tour points. Like, yeah, but no, he decided I'm just going to give it away on 17, and Cole is going to just stroll up and go jump right in the pond. Absolutely, completely unexpected finale to an absolutely fantastic tournament. Robbie, let's send it over to you for any thoughts.
Well, one, I absolutely love the pond jump tradition at Maple Hill. That is just so cool, and it's awesome that every year that is something that the winners always do. It's guaranteed to the pond. Yeah, absolutely. Bring out my inner Steve Dodge. Two, just a incredible performance by Missy Gannon after a lackluster round one to battle all the way back. And then, like you said, end up winning comfortably too at the end of it. Just a super awesome performance and first tournament ace at Maple Hill. That's super cool. Love seeing Nathan Queen pop up a little bit there. Former Pro Tour champion Nathan Queen, for those that either don't remember or weren't fans of disc golf at that point yet. Former Pro Tour champ Nathan Queen. And now not just like any Pro Tour event. I mean, he literally won the Pro Tour championship like a boss. Little lefty love there. Also, shout out Shawnee G for a little bit of stats that he inserted here for me. I'll leave the ace one for you because that's your thing, Shawnee G. But shout out to friend of the pod, Sophia Dunica, who nabbed a wild card ticket to the Pro Tour Championship by shooting the hot round in round 4, a 1022 rated -5, which was her third highest rated round ever, coming up incredibly clutch when she needed to book one of only 2 wildcard spots to the Pro Tour Championship, the other going to Haley King. And shout out to a friend of the show, Chandler Kramer, for an amazing fourth round. He shot a fantastic -8, 10.72 rated round, which is his third highest rated ever. And he also snagged the ace on hole 8, which was on film. And super cool to do that in front of all the 8 holes, like I had mentioned. Also, big shout out to Rebecca Dawn, who played great at this event as well. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she would have been the third wildcard qualifier if they gave out 3. But unfortunately, it was just the 2, and Haley King and Sophia Dunica snagged those. But Rebecca was also super close to qualifying just outright in the top 18. I think she finished like 22nd, and she played like less than half of the tour this season. So the future is very bright for Dalla Dalla Dawn, as Sean coined on this show. The future is very bright for friend of the show, Rebecca Dawn. I can't wait to see what she does with a full Pro Tour season ahead of her.
What a season. What a season for Sophia, for Rebecca, for Chantal. The FPO side of the Canadian Air Force on tour has really, really done the country proud. And we absolutely loved following them week after week throughout the tour. Absolutely amazing. I can't believe that the season is almost over. We just have a couple events left. What are we going to do with our weekends? I don't know, man.
Well, there are a couple of things left to still look forward to in the Pro Tour season. First and foremost, the next thing coming up is the USDGC and Throw Pink Women's Disc Golf Championships, of course, being held, as always, in Rock Hill, South Carolina at Winthrop University. One of the most prestigious events in disc golf. I'd say second only to Worlds with USDGC and, of course, Throw Pink, the pseudo fifth major. Not officially a major, but everybody considers it a major, basically, and always has a stacked field. So we've got a lot to look forward to there. On the MPO side with USDGC, Gannon Burr took it down last year by 2 strokes over Calvin Heimberg and Anthony Barella, who were both tied for second. And with how good McBeast is playing lately, he is, I believe, a 3-time champion. Let's see. He's got 1, 2, 3. He's got 3. So looking to add a potential 4th USDGC title, which I believe would give him sole possession of the most major titles ever by somebody in the MPO division. So lots on the line there for Paul. We also had 2 years ago, 2023, Kyle Klein took it down. And of course, Gannon Burr took it down in 2022 as well. So he is looking to become a 3-time champion. Over on the Throw Pink side of things, Kristen Latt won this tournament by 6 strokes last year. Of course, she will not be in the field this year to defend her crown. Last year's second place was Owen Scoggins, who had a 1-stroke edge over third place Evelina Saladin in the final. And former champions, of course, Holland Hanley won this in 2023. Katrina Allen in 2022, and Missy Gannon is also a former champion here as well. So Shawnee G, looking ahead to these events, who are you looking forward to seeing? What are you looking forward to at the event? And we've kind of stopped doing official picks, but maybe who do you think's got some chance to take it down?
Assuming that my money is not on Gannon Burr because he's, Gannon Burr doing Gannon Burr things. But it's interesting. The last 2 events, we had Cole Redolin and Gannon Burr up there, in the podiums area. sniffing around, and then Paul Macbeth. Paul didn't have a great Maple Hill, but he's still in the lead or in the running. I think he is so hungry to take this thing down. And he's in his game is in the best shape it's been in a few years. I think my pick would be Paul Macbeth, because he wants it so badly. He wants it so badly. I think he's going to put in everything he's got into taking this thing down.
I think that disc golf is better when Paul Macbeth is doing Paul Macbeth things. There is a different aura about Paul Macbeth that, despite his dominance, Gannon Buhr just doesn't seem to have, at least at this stage in his career. Whether it's, and I can't exactly figure out why, but people just don't seem to gravitate towards Gannon as much as people still gravitate towards Paul Macbeth. He is, countless amount of current pros, he is their favorite player of all time. And even newer players getting into the sport still gravitate to Paul Macbeth a lot of the times. And you see a lot of new players coming in that are all discraft and, bag a lot of Paul's discs and worship Paul and all that he's done. And rightfully so. He is arguably the greatest disc golfer of all time. And it would be incredibly cool to see him take it down again. Also, my money is 100% on Gannon Buhr. He's won 2 of the last 3 here, and he, despite I think at the beginning of the season not having, because I don't think he has as many wins this year. Maybe he does have as many wins this year. No, I'm just seeing a lot of ones on his PDGA page. But after let's see, so starting with going back to Worlds, and I guess even going back before that, going back all the way to, let's say, Crokel, he finished 9th at Crokel, and then from then has gone second, first, second, first, second. So I'd say he's on a bit of a hot streak. He hasn't finished outside of first or second since July. So yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say. I'd actually be interested to see what the betting odds would be on Gannon Buhr going into this tournament, because Gannon Buhr versus the field, I think almost might be even money, which is crazy for one person versus a field of 100 and something, whatever. But that's just the level that Gannon Buhr is on. So very interesting to see there. I'm super excited to see Throw Pink this year, though. Without Kristen in the field, I think that it's anybody's game, and I think that some of our Canadian gals have a great chance to make some noise down at this event. But Shawnee G, I think that is basically going to do it for us here on this episode. I introed us today, so I'm going to throw it over to you. You take us out of here, Shawnee G.
Good luck to everyone out there playing this weekend. If you're at the Lucky Lines Open out at Eastview, if you're at, was it the Wolf Track Classic, I think, at Muskoka, the Wedge down in Windsor, the Battle at the Bluffs in Port Stanley, or maybe you're at the Wards Wide Open out on Toronto Island, or next weekend out at the Stones Throw Fall Open, or playing Flingsgiving at Foxwood. There are so many amazing tournaments all over the province as we get into the best part of the year to play love fall disc golf. And we're getting closer to the end of the season, so you got to get out there. But wherever you play, however you do, have fun out there, and we'll see you out on the course.